Lesson 21. Can Jesus restore my relationships? It's a great question. And we're going to lean into a pair of miracles. A woman who's been bleeding for 12 years, assume it's a gynecological problem, and a young girl who's 12 years old. The 12 ties them together. Very different problems, but together they make a single important statement. The little girl's father was a man named Jairus, and he was very important in the village of Capernaum. In fact, he is the leader of the synagogue. And he comes to Jesus imploring him to help his daughter. Here's how it says it in Mark chapter 5, verse 23. He implored him earnestly, saying, "My little daughter is at the point of death. Come and lay your hand on her so that she may be made well and live." Luke adds the detail that she was Jairus' only child. And she's 12 years old, so for the last 12 years, they've not had any kids. There's probably no more children coming. This is their only chance to see the little girl grow into a woman. And at 12 years old, she's entering puberty. She's not really a little girl. She's on the verge of womanhood. And Jairus beseeches Jesus, even falling at his feet, which is an amazing thing for a leader of a synagogue to humble himself that way before a peasant carpenter. He asked Jesus, "Put your hands on her so that she may be made well." The Greek word is sozo, which is also translated saved. Now understand this, that physical healing is a picture and actually the initial entrance into spiritual healing. God doesn't just want to heal your body. He doesn't just want to heal your soul or your spirit. He wants to heal all of you. And when he says, "I want her to live," that's the same word, Zoe, that Jesus used in his life purpose statement, "I've come to give you life and life to the full." Well, there's a crowd there that is oppressive. In fact, Luke gives an indication, uses a word that says they were pressing on him. It's even dangerous for Jesus. And in the middle of this crowd, a woman makes her way through. How? Well, I have an idea. She's an older woman than this 12-year-old girl, and she's been bleeding for 12 years. If indeed it is a gynecological problem, that means that she has not, because she's ritually unclean, has not been able to be intimate with her husband, to hold her children, to attend synagogue. She is an outcast. Well, how would everybody know? Well, they didn't have disposable sanitary products. So they would see her going down to the lake every day to wash her menstrual garments. It's embarrassing. It is debilitating. It is isolating. And she comes up behind Jesus and she says, "If I just touch the edge of his garment," specifically, that was likely the tassel of Jesus' prayer shawl. These prayer shawls had on each corner a series of tassels that were tied in knots. And they were used much like rosary beads for every prayer you went through a knot. And Jesus has these tassels on his prayer shawl, and the belief was that if a rabbi was powerful, that he would leave, say, pixie dust of power of his prayers in the tassels. She just grabs a hold and then immediately releases. She wants to do this surreptitiously without being noticed. But Jesus, in the middle of a crowd, stopped and said, "Somebody touch me." And Peter says, "Lord, yeah, everybody's touching you because we're in a crowd." And Jesus said, "No, somebody touched me with faith to receive healing." Verse 34, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease." How did Jesus know who it was? Well, because when he turned around, he saw the woman quivering. And he addresses her in such a tender term, daughter. Jesus called no one else daughter in all the Gospels. This woman's faith has made her well. And you might wonder, why does Jesus out her like that? It is an embarrassing, private problem. Why does he make it public? Because remember, Jesus isn't trying to cure you. He wants to heal you. And there will be no healing, no reuniting with the community, no reuniting with her husband unless there's a public recognition that the woman has been healed. Verse 35. While he was still speaking, there came from the ruler's house some who said, "Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" And the way Luke phrases it, it's even more blunt. Dead your daughter is. It's a tough pill to swallow. And everyone else is rejoicing because this woman has been healed. After 12 years, it's a miracle. They saw it. They were there. But Jairus he's in angst because this delay may have caused his daughter's death. Verse 50, do not fear, only believe, and she will be well. They make their way to the house, which can't be more than a block. Capernaum's not that large of a village. And he encounters a funeral. They've already started to bury the girl, which is not rude. In the Middle East, it gets warmish, and the body will decay pretty quickly. So they begin the process of ointments and perfumes and the wrappings. And there's even some neighbors who have come to mourn. These funerals would hire professional mourners to wail. And when Jesus arrives, he says, "Stop mourning. She's not dead. She's just sick." Now, I know that they were ancients, but ancients were actually closer to death than we are. They knew what a dead body looked like. And they turn their mourning into mocking, and they start laughing at him, saying, "What are you talking about? We're just sick. We know a dead person when we see it." And Jesus says, "Peter, James, John, come with me." They go inside. Jairus and his wife are there. And in the privacy of the home, he puts his hands on the girl and he says, "Talitha cum," which means "little girl, rise," in Aramaic, which was Jesus' native language. Immediately, she rises. And this is kind of humorous. Jesus says, "Give her something to eat." And we think, well, yeah, she's a teenager. Of course she wants something to eat. She's hungry all the time. It's more than that. You see, eating was a sign of social integration. And Jesus isn't just raising her from the dead or healing her of this illness. He is recovering her to her community. And the closer you get to the cross of Jesus, the closer you will get to the community that you care about.